One of the biggest questions in the United States is constantly whether or not we intervene. This has been a question for decades. Do we intervene with World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, Iraq, and the list goes on and on. I think that the United States has to intervene when necessary and only in cases of severe oppression, like in World War II when we intervened with an entire group, a population of people were being oppressed and genocide was occurring. I think that that is when the United States should intervene. We need a just cause like oppression, and we also need to get in and get out. We need to fix the problem and leave and not make ourselves known. Um, as the book Political Philosophy by John A. Simmons, this one, says, alien states or persons may be entitled or required under certain conditions to directly intervene in purely domestic affairs of sovereign states, with these states being correlatively morally bound to permit such intervention, and states may be morally required to assist in various ways from a distance other states or groups or persons, and so may not autonomously choose to do so. So to me, that means that we have a duty, a moral duty, not just in our states, but internationally and around the world, to intervene if there is moral injustice happening. Like I said before, like oppression and genocide, things like that. We have a moral standing to fix those because it's not okay for those kinds of things to be happening. But the problem is, as the book states, actual interventions for preemptive purposes are almost never based on such information. So most interventions don't have some just cause and a really good standing. It says routinely being either supported or inconclusive or speculative evidence or undertaken with an exaggerated sense of the justifying scope of considerations of national security, which is something that we routinely see today, that intervening is a matter of national security, and if we don't do this, then there's going to be all these terrorist attacks or mass suicide bombings, things like that. And so we just go in and we say, well, we're going to fix this and we're going to take over and things are going to be fine after we do this. And really, we don't have a standing to do that. It's just big corporations saying, we want money, we fund wars, so we're going to create wars and we're going to make billions off of a war, which is what happens. Is what happens every time a war occurs, is mass corporations are the ones funding it and they're the ones getting paid for it. Also with that, with the corporations, is we don't just get in and get out. And if we're going to intervene, if we're going to help prevent things from happening or prevent things from getting to be like they were in World War II, where there's this mass genocide happening, if we're going to step in before that can happen, then we need to step in, fix it, and get out. I just recently learned that our military bases that are overseas they're not like the movies. They're not just a bunch of tents out in the middle of the desert where people are struggling to find things. They're not struggling like we think they are. Those bases are little Americas. We have Walmarts, we have McDonald's, we have Burger King, we have Best Buy, we have all sorts of American companies that we know and use every day, over there. There are car dealerships. My brother-in-law this weekend was telling me that one of his best friends that was in the military bought a Fiat while he was on base in Iraq from the military base. That's crazy. That's not what a military base is for at all. And so what's happening is we're intervening and we're just creating these little Americas for all these big corporations to continue to make millions and millions and millions of dollars off of the Americans that are over there, and then off of the Iraqis or the Chinese or the whatever country they're in, off of their people, which is not okay to just set up camp and saying we're just going to kind of take over the world, which is kind of what's happening. So yes, the United States should intervene if they are protecting indigenous people, if they are protecting innocent people, if they are stepping in to prevent a moral injustice from happening. But they need to have there needs to be evidence, there needs to be a just cause, and we need to fix this problem and get out instead of making ourselves ever present in a place where we do not belong.